Welcome everyone. Welcome to day 2 of taking notes on mammals of Minnesota. Um, Prior to this class, guys, we have done a scavenger hunt. You guys also started talking about CWD. So we're going to kind of mention both those things in class. We're going to talk about both those things to kind of discuss CWD and kind of open up that discussion. But for today, guys, we're going to go through a couple more mammal notes. Okay. So let's get it going pretty quickly. Let's go through it fast. We'll see how we can get. Okay. So last time we did this on Monday, we went through bears. We went through deer. Okay. Then we went through a moose. Then we went beaver, muskrat, and that's kind of where we ended. Okay. Today, we're going to start with one of your guys' favorites, the chipmunk. Okay. So we're going to go through the chipmunk and the 13-line ground squirrel. Okay. If you guys realize or recognize this image, this is actually who Goldie the gopher actually is supposed to represent, which is kind of weird because they call him a gopher when Goldie the gopher is actually Goldie the ground squirrel. But, some people aren't the most intelligent, so that's how that mascot came around. But 13-line ground squirrel, guys, and chipmunk. So let's talk about some of the differences. Chipmunks, guys, they have one black stripe down the middle with another set of stripes on both sides going black, white, black. So they have a total of like 3 lines, black, white, black. Then they have rounded ears that are erect. They're found in deciduous forest and shrubland, and they can climb very well. 13-line ground squirrels, on the other hand, though, they have 7 dark lines and 6 light lines. And for you mathematicians out there, 7 plus 6 gives you 13. Okay, hence the name 13-lined ground squirrel. Now, they do have shorter ears that do not stick above the head, and typically live in grassland and agricultural fields, and they don't climb at all. So if you guys are ever driving down like backcountry roads, not even country roads really, but roads that are between cornfields or other type of fields, you look on the side of the roads in that grass, typically you see little heads popping out. They're like, okay, those are 13-line ground squirrels. They do not climb, guys. They're very different than a chipmunk, but a lot of people, they see them scurry around just quickly. They don't know exactly what they are, so they just call them a chipmunk because we don't really talk about ground squirrels very often. So there's that for you. The next one we're going to get into is the eastern gray squirrel. Okay, guys, this is the most common squirrel you guys have probably seen before. You've probably seen them in gray. You've probably seen them in black. You've probably seen them in white. You've probably seen some really weird genetic mutations, depending where you guys are. When you guys end up going to college, if you go to college, there will be a lot of squirrels on your college campus. It's a college thing. I don't know why, but there's food everywhere for them, so they just kind of live there. Now, squirrels, guys, have a lifespan of 2 to 5 years, which isn't that long. Now, they can grow 16 to 20 inches in length, and they have small ears without tufts. They also have a big bushy tail, and they're significantly larger than a red squirrel, which we're going to go over red squirrel just in a bit. But they can come out, guys, gray, reddish, white, and or black. Okay, so just like deer or just like bears, there is different color variations in them. So typically, guys, when you see these different color variations, we could still consider them gray squirrels just because we're smart enough to know that, and we also can determine them by size. Now, I want you guys to think, is there going to be more red squirrels, white squirrels, black squirrels, or gray squirrels in the cities? Okay, where do you think is the most common place to find those different colors? If you guys said the cities, you are correct. In the cities, guys, there's not as many predators, so squirrels that have a mutation to either be reddish, black, and or white can still survive there because they're not going to get picked off by predators. So when they have that trait, they can then reproduce, passing that trait onto their offspring, and then you see more commonly those black, white, and reddish gray squirrels. It is kind of interesting. It's kind of cool, but the odds of seeing one in the wilderness is a lot lower because if you're a white squirrel in the middle of the woods, yeah, you kind of stick out like a sore thumb. Okay, and if you're a black squirrel in the middle of the woods in the wintertime, you for sure stick out like a black thumb. Okay, so those are the 3 things, guys, there. There's a little video linked right here if you guys want to watch it. It just kind of shows squirrels going through an obstacle course, which I'm sure some of you guys have seen now on the internet. But squirrels are really smart. They're really talented and really good at landing and able to jump around from place to place very effectively and easily. Okay. The next one is the fox squirrel, which I'm guessing is the one that you guys are the least familiar with. Fox squirrels, guys, have a lot longer lifespan. They're anywhere from 8 to 18 years, and they're significantly bigger than a gray squirrel. So they're 17 to 27 inches in length. Now, their fur color can be different, but typically they're a reddish brown. And they have somewhat of like a frosted look to them. So their red fur is tipped with brown. So if you think back to like NSYNC back in the day when they said like frosted tips, fox squirrels are ahead of their time. Okay. Fox squirrels have that red hair and that's just like has like these little brown frosted tips on them. Okay. And they're much larger than a gray squirrel. So if you guys put these two comparatively next to each other, the fox squirrel is going to be a lot bigger in body and a lot bigger in length. But that's realistically the two differences there. Okay. Now, moving into the American red squirrel. I'm sure 99% of you have seen these. And if any of you guys have houses or anything like that, or your family has a house or a cabin, anything like that, you probably aren't the biggest fan of red squirrels because they realistically can do a lot of destruction, a lot of damage to your property. Now, are they kind of cute? Yeah, I agree. Okay. The little red squirrels, they make a very annoying, high-pitched, like squealy sound, but they do cause a lot of damage. So let's talk about the red squirrel. So a red squirrel, guys, actually does live longer than a gray squirrel. So the lifespan is somewhere between 5 to 9 years old. They are 15 to 18 inches in length. That's from nose to tail. But their body, guys, is a lot more sleek and less puffy compared to the ground squirrel. Or not ground squirrel, compared to the gray squirrel. I apologize. So they're more sleek compared to the gray squirrel. They're very vocal, and their ears are tufted in the winter. Okay, there's another video here, guys, if you want to watch it. But they're very, very vocal, guys, and you can hear them all the time chattering at each other and talking to one another in your backyards or any places like that, because they warn one another if there's predators around. And they're one of those things that'll kind of like defend themselves. It's not like they're going to throw things at you, which they could, but it's more of like they're going to annoy the crap out of you until you leave. And they're just going to let everybody know in the forest, like, hey, there's a person here. There's a person here. And that's just kind of how they work. They're kind of like your little like sibling where they just like keep annoying you and you can't really do anything about it. And they're like not really going to do anything about it. It's kind of what a red squirrel is. Okay. Now, in Minnesota, guys, we actually do have two species of flying squirrel. Okay. They're not super common, but we're going to talk about both of them. We have the northern flying squirrel and we have the southern flying squirrel. Okay. Most of you guys have probably seen these before in videos, but they're pretty sweet looking, okay? Just so we get this clear, they do not fly, okay? They glide, for instance. They do not flap these wings, okay? That does not make them get off the ground, but instead they just open up and they have that extra piece of skin there, what allows them to glide around kind of like an airplane, okay? Now, northern flying squirrels versus southern flying squirrels. The lifespan, guys, is 5 to 10 years for both of them. The northern flying squirrel is a little bit larger at 10 to 12 inches, while the southern flying squirrel is somewhere about 8 to 10 inches. The northern flying squirrel does have gray belly fur, while the southern flying squirrel does have white belly fur. Now, they do both have gray furish and brownish on the back, and they both have that membrane between their front and back leg. Okay, so the best way to tell the difference between the two is for sure location. Okay, but things can move, so location is not always accurate, but is their belly fur color. You guys notice here the northern flying squirrel, it's a lot more grayer and darker. The southern flying squirrel is very light. Okay? Light, dark, northern, southern. Beautiful. Now, even though they are probably one of the cutest squirrels out there, they're the most carnivorous squirrel out of all the other squirrels we've talked about. Okay? Most squirrels, guys, have like a very heavy seed diet, nut diet, things like that. Flying squirrels are actually known to be pretty carnivorous. So they eat eggs, they can eat birds, they eat carrion. They eat a lot of meat and a lot of animals, which is pretty interesting for something that is not that big. And they're kind of cute, actually. Okay. And a lot of us wouldn't think of them as predators, but they are. Okay. Now, these two videos, guys, I recommend you watching. This video right here is the first one. It's just a video of flying squirrels actually flying. And then the other one is the squirrel suits that humans wear, which are basically based off of what a flying squirrel does. Okay, so it's a glide suit. I believe that's the last slide. Yes. Okay. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to me. Please ask. Other than that, guys, have a great day. I'll see the A students on Monday. Distance learners, if you guys have any questions, please ask. Other than that, guys, have a good weekend. Bye.